Protected by Farah and her team of Helix Security International forces, the Temple of Anubis is an AI research facility that holds a great secret. I really hope those Raptor 4 suits they wear are the model with air conditioning, because Egypt is hot. Not just a little hot, but hot hot. For these map breakdowns, we're going to look at relevant sections for both defending and attacking, and which heroes work well. These videos are intended for players who have played through a whole level at least once. I'm assuming you know where the spawn rooms are and where the objective is.
Defend Objective A.
This is the first choke and the first area you want to contest when defending. Do not push past this point, you will have no advantage. This is the space we want to hold, and when looking at how to defend an area, you should look at the paths the enemy can attack through and draw a line across those paths. This line represents the space the defense needs to focus on. For you North Americans out there, this is your line of scrimmage. If you're not American, or maybe you just don't like your sports with more adverts than actual sport, then this line is the line you don't want the opposing team to cross. We now need to look at our line and work out where it is weak and how best to reinforce it. On this first choke of Anubis, there is a couple of good defensive lines we can draw, but in the interest of keeping this video as concise as possible, I will discuss one here today and other options in future videos. This first line is the most obvious, and to look at it properly we'll need to pull back a bit. Although on the ground the choke is quite narrow, there is a lot of vertical room, so to help cover the high ground it can be really good to place a defensive Widowmaker on this perch.
Ooh la la.
The rest of your defense should be focused around the high and low ground in front of the choke. A Reinhardt on the high ground protecting some big splash damage dealers like Farah, Junkrat, or even a turret from Torbjorn or Bastion. The Reinhardt here also has the benefit of offering a lot of protection for your Widowmaker at the back. If the enemy are running multiple Farahs, you may want a 76 here too to help the Widowmakers deal with them and provide some bonus healing. On the low ground, you just want one big close-range threat like McCree, Reaper or Roadhog to cover the small path under this building here on the left. Reinhardt's shields don't last forever, so there will be poke damage coming through, and with your team split between the high and low ground and a Widowmaker right at the back, you'll be best with a Mercy, who will be able to jump between the different places with ease to heal where needed. The biggest weakness to this setup is the entrance just to the right of the choke. Even though it's past your defensive line, it's not hard for a hero with a movement ability or under the protection of a barrier to push through. Symmetra is a fantastic second support here to pick up when defending Objective A. The teleporter has fantastic value, and this room to the right is a great microwave room. Remember, when setting up the turrets it can be good to stagger them over two doorways, especially if Symmetra is there to add her own damage to the mix. Your high ground DPS will have to stay vigilant, as a microwave room doesn't last forever against a decent team, and they will have to deal with those that manage to push through. When dropping the teleporter, there is a great spot right at the back that has line of sight to all of your team, so you should easily know if any flankers are heading for it. Plus, if you are all killed, it gives you a good chance to push the enemy off Objective A and set up your defense again. If your line is broken, it will get real scrappy real fast. Try to maintain a high ground advantage whenever possible, and if you do push them back, get your defensive line re-established as quickly as possible.
Capture Objective A.
Attacking is very much about analysing the defending team's strategy and working out how to exploit its weaknesses. Whether it's a weaker player in a position you can easily deal with, or a hole in their overall strategy you need to assess and exploit. Heroes that are just good when attacking Objective A are Farah and Genji. The map forces both teams to play a very grouped style where Farah's rockets can do a lot of damage, and there is a lot of vertical space she can use. Defensive Widowmaker can of course ruin Farah's afternoon in the sun, even if she does have air conditioning, and this is where Genji comes in. Tracer really doesn't have the room to do what she does best. She needs space to dodge about, and she doesn't have the vertical movement to negotiate the terrain. But this whole area is a cyber agility playground. Offensive Widowmaker is another option for dealing with the defensive Widowmaker, but if they are running a Reinhardt protection, it will be tough to counter-snipe. To deal with the defensive strategy discussed earlier, the weakness is still this flank that is now through the choke and on our left. You will first need to deal with the microwave room. Winston or D.Va are both good at this, but I would recommend D.Va here as she fits into the overall strategy better. Once the microwave room is down, there is a fantastic flank path open to any hero with vertical movement. Here we run through it with Genji. This allows you to come up behind the Widowmaker and take her out. You are now behind the DPS with a height advantage, perfect positioning for Afara to rain her explodey business all over the defenders. The goal here is to pincer the defenders, attack them from both the front and the back at the same time. If the defenders at any point move to intercept the team of flankers, then the rest of the team push in the front door, and the defenders are now sandwiched between a very explodey rock and a bullet-ridden hard place. Against less organised teams, usually getting a Genji and or Afara through this flank alone is enough to disrupt the defences and allow the attackers to gain an advantage. But against a properly organised defence, you'll likely want to send a Diva or Mercy with them for protection or healing. Your guys bashing down the front door should be a Winston or Zarya with a Lucio for the speed boosted aggressive push and a Reaper or McCree for the close quarters firefight.
Objective B is under attack.
As is often the case on assault maps, momentum from losing Objective A will carry over onto Objective B, and the defending team will lose the game before they know what time it is.
It's hand.
No, Jesse, it's not. Calm down. If it looks like Objective A is falling, do not throw yourself at it 1 or 2 versus 6 to try and slow them down. You will accomplish nothing but charge their ultimates and take yourself out of the game, possibly for long enough for them to win with their hero advantage. Instead, fall back and establish your defense on Objective B. This is a much harder point to hold against an organized team. There are many paths to the objective, and it is difficult to draw a single line to defend. There is 3 chokes that lead into this area from the attacking side, but there is no good way to cover them all. However, if we draw this line here, we can cover the paths directly onto the objective fairly easily. Drop the Symmetra and pick up a Lucio for the AoE healing, as your team are going to occupy a relatively small space together. Cover the cave entrance with your close range McCree or Roadhog. I personally prefer McCree for the range versatility. Offensive Widowmaker is very good here, so be careful with the central sightline. Bastion can be okay, but only if protected by a Reinhardt. If you based your defense more around this diagonal line and avoid having anyone in the central sightline, the offensive Widowmaker will need to expose herself a lot more to get the shots she needs. A defensive Widowmaker is then free to take this vantage point here and cover the left side of the map. Pharah or Junkrat are still good damage dealers, as everyone is still forced close together, and when Pharah is good, you'll want to keep that 76 around. Mei is also good here, as she can easily separate the team with ice walls, and her ult is amazing in enclosed spaces.
Capture the objective.
Attacking this objective is something that feels very difficult when playing solo or with just 1 or 2 friends. The defending team are naturally grouped together, and until you start playing with people who naturally group up and work together on attack, it is hard to take this objective. Pharah is still god tier here, but I don't think Genji offers much value anymore. I'm sure it is still possible to get picks, but it is now much harder to do without dying yourself because the defenders are grouped so closely. Offensive Widowmaker, as already mentioned, is great when pushing for Objective B. She can get some great vantage points that can often only be countered by an enemy sniper. The best plan for attacking this point is to swarm it together as a team. Whether you pick up Lucio, Zenyatta and Reinhardt and speed boost everyone into the enemy behind a giant shield, or you coordinate attacking from multiple angles at the same time, it can be easy to overwhelm the defending team as long as everyone pushes together. If they have a Reinhardt defending, McCree is a good pickup to stun the shield away. Zarya can also be good to use here, as a lot of the fighting is close quarters and her ultimate is likely to catch multiple enemies. And that about wraps up this first look at Temple of Anubis strategy. I hope you found this guide useful. This is a fairly complex topic that I've tried to simplify through examples. My ideas here are by no means the only strategy available on this map, but hopefully these examples will give you an understanding of the breaking points of the map and get you exploring your own ideas and your own hero choices. Let me know in the comments what your experiences of Temple of Anubis have been and any strategies you like to use. If this was useful, make sure to let me know by hitting that like button and subscribe for more Overwatch content. Take it easy, and I'll see you soon.